I want to play out a crypto winter. Like the same way a nuclear missile was launched. I want to
Yep.
talk about crypto becoming a bubble and going to zero. Welcome to episode 5 of The Drift. Happy to be here with Tom Sosnoff. And again, just loving what we're doing. I've seen over 1,000 new people start following this in the last week. So I guess we're saying some stuff that's good and we'll try to keep doing it. Last time we had a timely talk about silver. Now I want to talk about something else that's been very much in play over the last couple of days, which is Bitcoin. I saw last night it was really trading lower and it was pulling the futures down with it, which got me in a defensive mindset. My fight or flight kicked in and I woke up this morning ready for some action, but we didn't really see it. So, what happened over this weekend? First of all, let's start with that, Tom.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think everybody was so tired from Friday's, kind of crazy. Friday was a crazy day because I think like 85 million option contracts traded on Friday, but most of them were. It felt like most of them were, gold and silver. I mean, those were just insane markets, and the S&Ps and stuff like that were secondary. In fact, I noticed today, Adam, that right before the show, I was just talking to a buddy. He's a futures trader, and I saw that 1.3 million micro gold contracts traded, and only 900,000 micro S&Ps. And when gold is trading more than S&Ps, like I mean, that's just wild. Um, and silver is insane too. So those markets have been kind of dominating, but um like you said, I don't know what based on Friday's close, I don't know what took down Bitcoin over the weekend. Is that when you say take it down, it's only down, whatever, $7,000, so like a little less than 10%. So it's not anything insane. It's just a nice size move.
Well, let's go with this. Did you trade Bitcoin this weekend?
I did because I'm a sick mother effer. I I on Saturday it was like kind of snowy in Chicago and it was a little nasty, and so I was out in the morning. When I got home, I got a text message from a buddy that said, "Hey, are you looking at Bitcoin?" And I'm like, and I wasn't even looking, so I logged on, and Bitcoin, the cash Bitcoin trades 24/7, right? Market's never shut. And so I logged on and I saw Bitcoin was trading around 78,000, which is pretty much the lowest it's been, for a couple of years. I also saw ETH was down to about 2350, somewhere around there. And I've been buying some Solana recently, like, in between 125 and 135, and that was down to 102. And so I decided, to buy some because my crypto position was really small, so I wanted to start to build something. I think everybody should have 1 to 3% of their trading portfolio in crypto, and I was under 1%. So so I did. I bought it. I think I bought 9 tranches total on Saturday. Got up about. I'm sitting around 1.5% now, and I bought Bitcoin, and then I bought some more on Sunday night. It was trading around the same, maybe at 77,000. And I saw that Solana. I bought some Solana at 98 and 99, but so it was under $1. And so that's kind of cool. I mean, under $100. So that's kind of cool. So anyway, that's where I'm at.
Well, if someone wanted to short Bitcoin, essentially,
Yeah,
like make
where
money
I'm
from
at.
it going
You
down. Well, if
you
someone
can't.
wanted to short, there's
You
well,
can't.
what about
You
like an
can.
ETF?
Yes, you can short. You can short IBIT, or BITC, BI BT. What is it? BTCR. I can't. Why can't I think of it right now? I just don't have a position on there right now. I'll check it in a second. But I usually trade IBIT. Um, and you can short the ETFs, and there's a future and a micro future, and you can short both of those. They just don't trade that much. But cash Bitcoin, if you're a U.S. citizen, you can't short it.
Right. So only through the ETFs. But is there, I guess, yeah, the options on that. Um, let's walk through this.
Yeah, you can trade the options on the ETFs, and it's a one for one play. You can short, if you're really bearish, you can short Coinbase or MSTR. Like you can get short those things, but the actual cash, um, you can't. You can trade the futures and you can trade the ETFs and you can and you can get short the options there, but you just can't trade the actual cash.
I want to let my mind wander a little bit here,
Okay,
and
sure,
I
go
don't
ahead,
think this is going to happen.
fire away.
I want to play out a crypto winter.
Go ahead.
Like the same way a nuclear missile was launched.
Yep.
I want to talk about crypto becoming a bubble and going to zero. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I want to know how that would play out. How would crypto go to zero?
Well, there's a couple things. First of all, crypto's already down, what, 45% off its highs. So it's already had a nice, I mean, it's been one of the best performing assets since 2009, 2010, and it's already had a huge sell-off in the last, year and a half. But you can see a crypto winter, I think, two ways. I mean, and I'm going to rule out under this current administration, I think the chances of it being a crypto winter for regulatory reasons is zero. I just don't see that at all. I think under when Gensler was running the SEC, I think there was a chance of a crypto regulatory winter, but I don't see that at all now. I don't think that's possible under the Trump administration has been very friendly to crypto. So I don't think that's even a possibility at this point. I think there's two ways you can see a crypto winter. One is just you have to realize that crypto is probably the least of all two-sided assets, meaning every single person that owns crypto that is in crypto is long crypto. Crypto is not a long short, that doesn't have 6 days to cover and 4 days to cover. Everybody's long crypto. Nobody's short it at all. You buy crypto, it's dead freaking money. It sits there, it doesn't move. The one thing I always hated about crypto owning a brokerage firm was that the money just goes there and dies. Like people buy Bitcoin and they never touch it again. They buy ETH, they never touch it again. They don't even scalp out of it. So it's dead money, but everybody's long. That's one reason is that everybody gets nervous and that everybody's in on the long side. So, there's some kind of, some kind of huge selling that just kind of snowballs into something like a crash. Maybe it goes to 50, 40, 30, something like that. That's one thing. The second thing is I think crypto has certain single points of failure now, mostly Michael Saylor and MicroStrategies, but also some, Ryan Cohn lookalikes, those kind of things, Trump lookalikes. There's a couple platforms out there. Pomp has a platform. There's
Tom Lee.
there's all what?
Tom Lee has one.
Tom Lee has one. There's a lot of these kind of promoters that have long funds that aren't really levered, but the money behind them, it's to me, it's not sticky. And that could cause, like they said last night that MicroStrategy for the first time, Michael Saylor's fund went under its cost basis. So 5 years into this thing, those guys are under their basis. So all of a sudden, this darling little investment turns into being a nothing investment after 5 years. And then you run the risk now as what happens if Bitcoin turns south and they can't make their dividend payments? They have to start selling off. What happens if people start bailing? When do they sell Bitcoin? And does that snowball and steamroll to something big? So you could see, because I think that's all those things, I think between Ryan Cohn, Tom Lee, Michael Saylor, the Trump kids, I think the whole thing's kind of a scam. And the reason I think it's a scam is because there's no definition of conversion rates and there's no definition of interest rates on those products. So I don't like the market structure of all those products. So I don't know. Could that be a single point of failure for digital assets? It could be.
It's interesting with like human nature because if Bitcoin goes from 100,000 to 80,000, I think you're right. The money just sits there. People just hold it. There's nothing going on.
Yeah.
It's when the losses increase that you
Yeah.
actually probably see the sellers come in. It's not when you're
Yeah.
down a little bit. It's when all of a sudden you've gone from, let's say, $100,000 investment to 30, and you're like, well, now I just want to use this 30 grand for something else because this is never coming back.
That's
And
right.
it's usually the people that are going to sell. It's later in the move.
And you know what's so funny about this is like people don't the group that owns Bitcoin, because remember, these are young, relatively young investors. And they all started like this movement started, like 2010, 2012, whenever. So a lot of them are long from like basically cost basis is super cheap. Like my son is a perfect example, long like he's never selling. He's been long since he was 20 years old. And it doesn't even think about selling. Like I buy Bitcoin and like I'll buy it here at 80,000 and sell it at 95,000. I don't care. It doesn't like I'm just a trader. I don't
Right.
like I could care less. I have no love one way or the other. Like I'll buy ETH here at 23, 2,400. I'm at 3,000. If it gets there, you can have mine. So, but the rest of the people don't think that way. And you know why they don't think that way? Because they've never lost any money in this thing. It's never had a
Right.
downtick for 15 years. So this is the first time when people are about to go underwater. And I I mean, listen, I love the space. So don't I'm a huge advocate of digital assets, tokenization. Um, I believe the future is in digitizing everything. So I'm not remotely bearish on this space. I don't like the market structure of these grifters out there that have been, creating these kind of crappy ass products. But when you talk about like anything that's digitized, I love the freaking space. Love it.
Well, what am I wrong then? Because I don't think that way, and I want to know maybe what's wrong with my thinking. Tell me what's wrong with my thinking. For me, gold makes sense because we're silver, and like your story from the last time, worst case, you have a ball of silver that you could use for different things. And money, I guess you could argue, is the same,
Yeah.
but money is used throughout everything, and I could interact with money. And I don't think Bitcoin transactions have become seamless. It's not like maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not going to the store and I'm not using Bitcoin. And it's been a while. It's not mainstream. So at the
Well, I
end of
don't
the
think you're
day,
ever using, I don't think it's ever going to be
if it
transactional.
ever
That's
went
not
to zero, like in terms of how I live my daily life, it's not affecting anything, whereas gold would and silver would. Um, that's what am I missing on that?
really. Are you taking gold coins and trading them in for
I
food?
buy jewelry. I buy jewelry. If jewelry was free, it would be less value. I would change the
I
way I
think
think about that.
I kind of feel like that's flawed. I feel like there's way more upside in digitization than there is in anything precious metal oriented. And I trade them both. I think that precious metals have way more downside. And I think that that was almost vindicated overnight
Literally.
last week. But I think that precious metals um, have way more downside than cryptocurrencies.
I
That
think if I ever go to Starbucks and
yeah,
instead of using my Starbucks app, I use Bitcoin to pay for my Starbucks. What price is Bitcoin at when that's happening?
you're never going to use that. That's never going
Okay.
to happen.
That's never
But
gonna happen.
but you are within a very short period of time going to go to Starbucks and you are going to use stablecoin. There's no doubt in my mind. Stablecoin, you are within like 12 to 24 months from doing everything on your phone using stablecoin. So it's
And
not
is that
Bitcoin.
related to Bitcoin? What's the relationship between the two of them?
There's no they're inversely correlated, meaning that if Bitcoin goes down, I think stablecoin will go up. I mean, not go up, but it stays. Stablecoin doesn't move. That's why it's called stablecoin. It has no relationship. It's just that you're using a digitized, a tokenized currency, and those are the payment rails that you're going to live on for the rest of your life, and your kids are. Like everything is going to be digitized, and stable coins or variations of stable coins are going to be what all of us use for everything. Now, what does that mean for Bitcoin and ETH and everything else? I think what it means is that the technology that supports all these different blockchains is going to be a big part of everything that we do.
Is stablecoin? It's tied to the dollar though.
Well, stablecoin here in the U.S., yeah, it's tied to the dollar, but it's backed by treasuries and tied to the dollar. There's no risk in stablecoin
Are you
in
saying
the
like if you
U.S.
go to Europe, instead of worrying about currency changes, you would just have that coin in the
Yeah,
future?
you could in the future, but in around the rest of the world, stablecoin can be tied to lots of different things. In the U.S., stablecoin's only tied to U.S. Treasuries, so there's no real risk. The difference is that, like if you're moving money, like cross-border payments, it's instantaneous. But I don't even think that's like who does cross-border payments? Like none of us do. Like that's not a big deal. But the idea that everything is, I think the idea that everything's going to be, your banking is going to become 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on your phone. And that's all going to be done through digitization. I mean, pretty soon, everything's going to be tokenized as well. So like you're going to sit there on a Sunday afternoon, you're going to go, you know what? I kind of, I'm a little bearish in Nvidia today. So you're going to sell, you're going to sell some tokenized Nvidia and you're not even going to think twice about it.
I hope not. I don't want to trade over the weekends. That's my
Well,
break.
that's a whole different thing. You can turn your phone off.
Yeah, I don't want to trade over the weekends.
But people also said, I'm not texting over the weekend. I'm not answering emails over the weekend.
But
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 you do.
also, but the just parallel to that is getting back to the leveraged ETFs around these coins. Like
Yeah.
I thought BITTO seemed like a great idea because you get the monthly dividend,
Yeah.
and it's been horrible and it's gone down way worse, which you told me it would. You told me that it would actually go down worse than
Well,
Bitcoin.
leverage
It did.
works both ways. I mean,
Yeah.
leverage works. That's what leverage is. It works both ways. When it's going your favor, it's the greatest trade ever. When it goes against you, it's like, what the F am I doing here?
So yeah, but any of those like YMAX too was a tech one
Yep.
where it pays the weekly dividends. They're all I've been in them. I was like an experiment. I didn't do a lot. I did more in BITO than I did YMAX, but they're losers. They lose over time. Any kind of leverage seems to lose over time.
Any kind of leveraged ETF is a trading vehicle, not an investment over time. It cannot work over time. They are not designed to work over time. The biggest mistake people make with 2 and 3 times leveraged instruments is they do not understand the math behind it. The math behind all leveraged ETFs is that you can trade them. They're a futures replacement, but they do not work to hold on to them no matter what, because the fluctuations up and down and all the rolling that is required in the back end by the managers make it mathematically impossible for those things to make money.
So the only time you would trade them is for a short-term move.
Yeah.
Right. Same with the VIX.
Intraday,
By the way,
one,
same with the VIX, right?
same thing.
Right.
Intraday, one day, that's it.
Okay. I think that's important to know because they're marketed heavily and, they get a lot of exposure and there's a good story to them, but they're losers.
Yeah, they're all losers. They
Okay.
all go to zero. I mean, there's nothing, every leveraged instrument, especially the commodity ones. I mean, it's just the nature, the market structure of the product. Well, the problem in VIX is that the VIX, the VIX has the biggest drag of anything because the VIX volatility on volatility is so high, and that you have to constantly roll forward. That it's, there's nothing you can do. It costs you, however many percent a month, or however many points a month, 1 to 2 or 3 points a month, just to maintain it. It's impossible.
So MSTR, is that leveraged?
I don't believe MSTR is effectively leveraged. They market it as it's non-levered. The problem in MSTR is that, I mean, listen, and sometimes MSTR on a relative basis gets cheap. I mean, their
Wait,
Bitcoin
wait,
holdings
before
are.
you say this, I think this is important for me to say because people are gonna be listening. We're talking about MSTR. I think MSTR was over 400 when I was first asking about it. And you
Or
said
450, I think.
you said it was a Ponzi scheme. And I actually got nervous because my marketing team went out with the recording that said Tom Sosnoff says Michael Saylor's MSTR is a Ponzi scheme. And I was like, guys, I don't know if he wants us saying that. And then I asked you and you're like, I don't care. But it was over 400. And
Yep.
so now it's at 143. So
Yep.
just for validation purposes, you've been effectively proven right. So I want people listening to this to know when you're talking about MSTR and explaining it, it's gone down 300 points from when you said nobody should touch it. So that's important to put this place in history. And
I have been saying this for going on 2.5 years now about MSTR. Well, I started I started railing against it when it was like 250 or something not because I'm bearish on Bitcoin, because I'm long Bitcoin. I've always been long Bitcoin. I've never not been long Bitcoin. I am very bullish on digital assets. What I don't like is when people create products that make no sense to me. Like I'm not some kind of crazy financial genius at all. But do, what I am pretty good at
I
is
think you are, by the way.
understanding.
I think you are.
I'm really good at understanding financial products as they're designed. I mean, I've built exchanges, brokerage firms, and designed many of the products that everybody trades today. And one of the things that drove me crazy was when I started reading about MicroStrategies and just the way they set this up. I'm like, why would anybody do this? Like I couldn't I can't wrap my head around the idea of why anybody would invest in a ETF or a fund or a stock like strategies where they don't define the interest rate that you're getting paid for the convertible note or the conversion rate itself because you're investing in Bitcoin. Like, how can you not define that? And it drove me off a wall. And I'd read the pros and the cons, and the pros were just people just kind of talking their book. They just didn't want to deal with it. And the cons are like, why is nobody all over this? Anyway, I knew it was going to implode one point or another. Plus, it was trading at a 50% premium. Generally, so not only are you buying Bitcoin in the dumbest way possible, you're paying 50% over the current price for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's trading 100, you're paying 150,000. Instead of trading 100,000, you're paying 150,000. It doesn't make any sense. So now everybody's underwater. And now at this point, if you were ever going to buy it, now it's the time when it's probably like, okay, well, if you like Bitcoin at 77,000, now you're buying it at probably 73 or 74,000. So it's not the worst trade in the world. So if you want to go sell MicroStrategies puts at what'd you say? It's trading at the 143, 144?
142.45.
Okay, so you want to go sell the 120 puts right now? It's probably not the worst thing in the world.
Right. I mean, so yeah, you were all over that. But I guess, though, I used to think that MSTR imploding would cause Bitcoin to go down a crazy amount, but it really hasn't. I mean, Bitcoin's gone down, but not proportionate to MSTR by any means.
No, and you can look at other stocks that also, I mean, there are a lot of highly correlated. You can look at Coinbase. I mean, that stock's had an ugly move to the downside as well.
Yeah, you were right about MSTR. But you don't think Bitcoin, it did, that is why the futures were down last night though, right?
I well, Bitcoin's the same price now, and the futures are, they're up big. And
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, but there are certain stocks out there, like if you want to play crypto and you want kind of like that, I mean, take a look at Robinhood today. I don't know, I haven't looked at it recently, but this morning I saw that it was down pretty big. I don't have it in front of me. You probably do.
10%.
But you can take a what?
Down 10%, 89.56.
Okay, well, 89. That stock was 108 last week, but it was, traded 160, I think.
Right. So that's come back a
So,
lot.
I mean, Robinhood's down, Robinhood's lost almost half its value. And so there's a bunch of stocks. Coinbase is down almost half, maybe more. Robinhood's down almost half, just a tiny less. I mean, MicroStrategies is down almost 70%, 65 to 70%. So
Right.
you've got, now you can get to the point where, okay, I mean, if you want to sell out of the money puts in any of those, and because you're bullish on Bitcoin, now I don't mind it.
Thank you very much. This was this is fun.
Adam, thanks so much as always, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely.